The 2015 Peugeot Vision Gran Turismo. French marque Peugeot has thrown its standing lion badge into the Gran Turismo Vision ring with a new concept car that has a 1:1 power-to-weight ratio, a 0 to 62 mph time of less than 2 seconds, and an exterior design that's sharp enough to cut straight through your TV. It's part of a project proposed by game designer, race driver, Polyphony Digital CEO Kazunori Yamauchi to celebrate Gran Turismo's 15th anniversary, with the world's leading carmakers penning digital daydreams for controller jockeys to unleash in the GT6 game world. So far, 15 other cars can be found in the Vision lineup, ranging from the intriguingly possible to the downright sci-fi. In creating its vision, Peugeot enlisted the help of its designers and sport engineers to craft an outstanding supercar that has all the hallmarks of a high-performance endurance racer. The car draws heavily from Peugeot's concepts and competition vehicles, with a splash of insanity for good measure. The car is currently unavailable for download, but is slated for distribution in a free update in the near future. Continue reading to see what you can expect when this thing finally goes live. Exterior. Hand the designers at Peugeot carte blanche for exterior aesthetics, free from the constraints of government regulations and engineering restrictions, and the results are probably going to be pretty good. Such is the case with concepts like the Onyx Hybrid, revealed at the Paris Motor Show back in 2012, and the 2014 Quartz crossover, revealed last year at the Paris Motor Show. Both are previews of Peugeot's future styling language ideas, and their influence is clear when looking at the Vision GT concept. And since this is a dedicated racer, Peugeot felt it necessary to throw in a bit of guidance from its many competition cars. These include the 908 Le Mans prototype, a stout competitor with years of on-track experience and success, and the 208 T16 Pikes Peak racer that Sébastien Loeb used to obliterate the old Pikes Peak record back in 2013. Up front, the nose is deeply creased and sharply angled, with extremely thin LED headlights sitting on either side of a narrow slate grille offset in a bright color finish. The Vision GT concept is incredibly low, with a height of only 41 inches. It's also quite wide, with fenders that bulge out from the body in a double V, seen most prominently when viewed from above. Up front, the nose is deeply creased and sharply angled, with extremely thin LED headlights sitting on either side of a narrow slate grille offset in a bright color finish. Peugeot says the car retains some of the automaker's production DNA, seen clearly in this front central intake. The bright offset color is repeated below in the oblique splitter, which connects the lower air intakes. These features further increase the car's wrinkles and folds. A single sensor fin is seen sticking forward, raised above the front hatch. The heavy creasing continues in profile, with hugely angled cuts made around both the front and rear fenders. The side skirts rise toward the back before falling sharply into the wide rear axle, with a bit of underbody enhancements highlighted in the bright colors also found in the grille and splitter. It gives the car a raked feeling, but at the same time maintains a level stance. Methods for ingress and egress are not immediately apparent, as there are no clear brakes that suggest the presence of a door. Perhaps the blue, white and red French flag stripe as a recessed and flush handle? There isn't even a side window, which is fine if you're driving in the third person. The profile offers clear examination of the enormous wheels, which are measured at 22 inches in the front and 23 inches in the rear. These come in a 5-spoke star design, and adequately frame the large brakes hidden underneath. When checking out the rear, I can't help but see a little bit of Lamborghini. The rear decklid hangs off over the rear axle like a springboard, with multiple levels laid atop one another like some kind of speed sandwich. The taillights are a pair of vertical slats, illuminating the outlets for intakes that start in the underbody. The rear diffuser completes the brightly colored features. Peugeot notes the dearth of external aerodynamic features, that is, aero attached to the highly chiseled exterior, saying that the body design alone is enough to effectively stick the car to the road, using a silhouette sculpted to sweep aside air resistance. The Peugeot Vision GT concept will be available in 6 different color schemes when it's finally made available for download. Interior. Like most of the Vision GT concepts we've seen from other makes, Peugeot has refrained from revealing what the interior of this virtual racer might look like, but that won't stop me from speculating. If this car ever made the leap from the ones and zeros of the virtual track to the limelight of a car show, I'd expect the cabin space to look something like that seen on the Onyx concept, assuming you could actually find the door. Zero rear visibility means a screen and rear-facing camera would be necessary. The Onyx used a variety of materials specifically chosen for their diminished impact on the environment, but I doubt that's as much of a concern for this racing concept. Rather, I could see Peugeot employ the same clean, ultra-sleek design, with the driver sitting low, his legs raised above the tub to reach the pedals. There would almost definitely be a racing harness to keep passengers pinned in place, with seating for two and a large, raised central console to house the mechanical bits connecting the front and rear. To keep from rubbing against the driver's thighs, the steering wheel would need to be squared off, à la Formula One, and would probably be made from carbon fiber. Instrumentation would be 100% digital, perhaps with a head-up display projected from the dash to keep things looking neat. Zero rear visibility means a screen and rear-facing camera would be necessary. Finally, a panel of switches would be attached to the roof, keeping the clutter away from the smoothed-out dash at eye level. Drivetrain. With such an over-the-top exterior, you'd probably expect this dream car's drivetrain to be equally fantastic. Peugeot has met such assumptions with some pretty crazy specs, starting with a turbocharged 3.2-liter V6 engine mounted directly behind the cabin. This monster powerplant creates 875 horsepower, which is a huge sum, but not for the realm of fantasy. It's the same specs you'll find in Peugeot's record-holding 208 T16 hill climb machine. This engine pumps its power into a 6-speed manual transmission, an interesting choice in the age of dual-clutch Insta-Cog swap automatics. This engine pumps its power into a 6-speed manual transmission, an interesting choice in the age of dual-clutch Insta-Cog swap automatics. Max thrust is achieved via an AWD system, which is more than necessary when learning about this vehicle's virtual curb weight. Peugeot says its Vision GT concept has an amazing 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio, which means each of its 875 horsepower has but a single kilogram to motivate. A quick conversion reveals this thing will tip the scales at a scant 1,929 pounds. What does 875 AWD horsepower do with less than ton of weight? Peugeot says it'll accelerate from a standstill to 100 km per hour, 62 miles per hour, in exactly 1.73 seconds, making this one of the quickest cars to ever come from the Vision program. Top speed is somewhere above the 200 miles per hour mark. With that much velocity on tap, control is of paramount importance. The French automaker says this car has super responsive steering, which will be highly necessary at the off when slaloming through competitors with inferior 0 to 60 times. Making it stop are ventilated disc brakes from Brembo at each corner. Made from carbon, these pieces measure in at 14.96 inches in the front and 13.27 inches in the rear. Competition. 2015 Infiniti Vision GT supercar concept. To help create its vision, Infiniti turned to its Beijing design team to craft something that was part beauty, part beast, with a svelte, smoothed-out body that appears ready to slip through the air like a falling raindrop. With a spoiler. Not only does it look fantastic, Infiniti went to the trouble of actually plugging in numbers to the design, calculating the impact of the aero as it sliced through the atmosphere. Motive power is derived from a 4.5-liter V8 engine paired with a single electric motor, laid out in a front midship transaxle platform. Weight distribution is set at 45 to 55 front to back, which enables handling that fills users with the joy of driving by actively drifting the rear. Read our full review here. 2015 Chevrolet Chaparral 2XV GT concept. In terms of sheer imagination, it's hard to best the bow tie's vision. This thing draws inspiration from the wild, old-school creations seen from Jim Hall and Hap Sharp, taking a bold step into the future with a few ideas that will leave your nerdy parts tingling. To start with, the whole car is composed entirely from composite materials, and like the Peugeot, all of the aero is integrated directly into the bodywork. The driver doesn't actually sit in the car, but rather wears it like some kind of four-wheel jumpsuit, lying in a prone position. The craziest feature, though, has to be the drivetrain. Powering the Chaparral 2XV GT concept is a 671 kW laser beam that purportedly pulses in a focused, specialized shroud to create shockwaves equivalent to 900 horsepower. It's enough to propel the car to 60 miles per hour in a mere 1.5 seconds, which is even faster than the outrageous Peugeot. Read our full review here. Conclusion. While it's unfortunate that gamers will have to wait to get their hands on Peugeot's Vision GT concept, it should be pretty fantastic when it's finally made available for download. We've seen a ton of crazy ideas spring from this program, and it's great to see the French automaker add to the fun with something this wild. The exterior is undeniably good-looking, with a style that's both aggressive and futuristic without excessive complexity. The drivetrain is rooted in Peugeot's past competition successes, while the figures it posts are a race engineer's fantasy. Throw in a 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio, and it looks like Peugeot did its homework in getting the attention of virtual hot shoes the world over. Look for the free update in the near future. You can also follow #Peugeot Vision GT for the latest. Love it looks to kill, with modern racer, sci-fi, and concept influences 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio Pikes Peak winning engine package. Leave it not available for download yet, zero visibility on the sides and rear. How exactly do you get inside?
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.